Today on Fun Ahead TV, we are fixing the Land Cruiser. Alright, so we got this small rust spot right here that's right on the front right fender. We're going to take care of that right now. Alrighty, first things first, we're going to take down this bolt just on the inside of the bumper here to give us a little better clearance to the spot. Let's start out by giving this area a good cleaning. This is just Korea's Garage Speed Shine, and we'll do a second stage with an even cleaner microfiber rag. Alright, so next up we're going to wet sand this area to just kind of take off the little bit of flakes of paint and get a little bit of the rust off. And so to do that, we're going to take some 2500 grit sandpaper and some slip solution, which is just water and 1 ounce of Johnson & Johnson baby soap. So you can see we took off some of the surface rust here, a little bit of bubbling under the paint, and this kind of lip here still remains. So in order to take care of that, believe it or not, it's time for this, the angle grinder. This is just a wire wheel. We gotta take care of this whole area and get it nice and prepared. Okay, now as you can see, we've got this entire area stripped down to the bare metal. All of the rust is gone, which is nice, both here and up underneath. So now we need to do a little bit more preparation. We kind of did the most intense form of sanding, of course, with a freaking wire wheel. We're now going to wet sand this area right here to get it really nice and smooth. Alright, now to clean this area up, we're going to use a little bit of tacking solution, which is just water and a little bit of isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Basically this will get any waxes and residues off of the area so that we can prepare it for painting. Alright, now that we've got the whole area nice and prepared and clean, I like to take a heat gun and just kind of dry up any remaining isopropyl alcohol water mixture to make sure that the whole surface is fully prepared and ready to go for the paint. And lastly comes the paint. In this particular case, we are using the Toyota, this is a brand specific Toyota touch-up paint for the 1F7 paint coat, that's the silver. This will be a very iterative process. We're going to start out with a first coat here though. After every coat, I take the heat gun again to dry this layer. Alright, time to do a third coat. My goal is for this to be as thick as it possibly can be, so I might do 3, maybe even 4 coats depending on how it looks, so that I can wet sand this again at the end to blend it with the rest of the fender. Okay, now at this point we're going to go ahead and wet sand it one more time. What we might end up doing though, because this is just the first time of applying paint and wet sanding, we might end up sanding back down to metal some of the high points along the way. That of course would require us to go back and put several more coats of paint on, do it again, etc. So this will just be the first take. We might potentially be doing more painting after this though, so we will see. Okay, now here's the surface. Of course, this is pre-polisher, so you can see all sorts of swirls from my wet sanding just now. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this with the polisher real quick and see what it looks like once it's all blended together. I know I'm using a 6-inch orbital pad here. It's definitely overkill for such a small space, but it's all I have. Let's see what happens. Alrighty, well, we succeeded in not getting it back down to the bare metal after that just now. There was risk of doing that after both the wet sanding and the polishing. You know, this paint is very much not perfect. As you can see, I mean, there's other crack marks right here. In the paint, this car has 250,000 miles on it. So what I'm mostly looking for is just rust protection and to stop the paint from coming off any further in that area, which we have succeeded in doing, which is nice. Prior to determining if we need to do any more repainting, I'm gonna go ahead and use a microfiber pad and the dual orbital polisher. We just finished using a foam pad, which is kind of a more coarse option. This is a little more aggressive, so it should smooth out some of these bumps. Also probably will take down some of the paint. It certainly will, but it also leaves a very smooth surface. It's kind of a 2-in-1 process. So we will do that now and see what happens. We will most likely be getting the paint back out though. Now, as I expected, you know, we did take down the paint here and here. So those were two of the high spots that the pad, you know, really kind of drilled at. So now we kind of start over a little bit, focusing on those spots, but we're going to cover the whole area now. I won't bore you guys with the iterative details, but we'll pick up once it's ready and all put back together. All right, everyone. Well, here it is all put back together. Final result, as you can see, from a little bit of a distance here, you almost can't even tell that it's there. And of course, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. If I wanted that to be done, then I would have to do this professionally using body filler, etc. But considering that this is just a touch-up job, honestly, it turned out pretty well. And this is basically the extent that you need to go to with all of these tools, you know, wet sanding, orbital polisher, buffer, etc., to get a touch-up paint job to look good. So anyway, that is going to be all for today's very quick and short video. I hope you guys learned something and found it at least somewhat valuable. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to Funhead TV, and I will see you guys next time.